You know it's bad when your boss is calling you out, or at least sort of boss anyway. The co-owner of 23XI Racing, Denny Hamlin, has been calling out Bubba Wallace after his antics at the Chicago street race last week. Of course, Hamlin does not race for 23XI Racing. He's more than that. He is an owner, of course, of the team, alongside basketball legend Michael Jordan. So whenever there's talk about their drivers, Hamlin always does weigh in. Of course, he races for a different team, but he's always got his opinion there, and his opinion really does matter when it comes to the running of that team. So I already covered what happened between Bubba Wallace and Alex Bowman in the closing stages of the Chicago race. But let's just say they came to blows. Bubba was not very happy about it and was wanting to blame Bowman for what was going on there. And a lot of people basically said, well, good on Bowman for actually standing up for himself, because the same thing, well, a similar thing anyway, happened the previous year where after the checkered flag, Bubba Wallace and Bowman again came to blows after the checkered flag fell. But Hamlin has been critical of what Wallace has been doing now. What's he been saying? Let's have a look at what's been said here, guys. I got the full story here for you, as always. So Hamlin's main concern when it comes to 23XI Racing, not just with Wallace, with the team as a whole, is their failure to, quote, execute properly and consistently. Hamlin described Wallace's qualifying as horrible. But in the race, credit to him, after starting 37th on the grid, he climbed his way up to 14th by lap 25. But he didn't have it all his own way. Kyle Larson made contact with the 23 car and spun him around, but he still kept going. However, Wallace was pretty furious about what was going on there. And on the radio, he was mad at his spotter. And we've spoke about the spotters at this race and how they don't quite have the same visibility as they would around other tracks. But either way, Wallace was not giving his spotter any sort of break when it came to this. He said on the radio, quote, "That was a late as call, man. Got to be better through here. I didn't know he was there until we got hit." Again, not a man to mince his words, is Bubba. But despite that, Wallace still made it up into the top 10 in the closing stages of the race. And of course, inevitably, he was in a battle with Alex Bowman. It's just destiny that these two at some point do make contact with each other around Chicago, I swear. Now, although contact was made, most people laid the blame at the feet of Bubba Wallace. Although contact was made between the pair of them, most people were blaming Wallace for being unable to control his car in that situation and just saying that it was hard and fast racing. It was definitely entertaining, there's no doubt about that. But whoever's blame it actually was for the incident, Hamlin was saying that you cannot be involved in a late race incident like that if you're to make the checkered flag. After all, to finish first you must finish. Hamlin said the following on his podcast after the race, quote, "You can't just take yourself out. That's what the deciding factor is that the 23 team is way faster than their cars are faster, their drives are faster, they are faster than the cars they are all around in points. But they just don't execute as well as others. The other guys are in 10 spots or worse on average finishing position, it feels like. I'm not getting blanketed about everyone. Everyone's been good, but I know speed-wise they shouldn't be in this position. Now, most of it is, and I've mentioned this, is DNFs that were not of his doing whatsoever. There's been mechanicals, there's been other wrecks that he's gotten a part of that had nothing to do with him. But everyone has these where you control the outcome, and it led to a bad outcome. And I think this was one that was showing things, and I think this was one that was slowing things down and putting a big picture into play. Probably would have been the better idea. Basically, he's saying that discretion is the better part of valor when it comes to that. And he made it clear that the number 48 car, Bowman, was not to blame for this as well later on in the podcast. So, yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with him at all. You know, consistent points finishes, especially early on in the season like this, or before the playoffs get going anyway. I mean, midway through the season at this point, of course. Time's flying, guys, I swear. But, you know, at this point, you really need to be consistent. Wallace needs to get a win to get into the playoffs, simple as that. He's on the edge of it pretty much when it comes to that. But if he can't win, which he was never going to win, Van Gisbergen was absolutely on another level around Chicago, then he's got to finish in the top 10, aim for the top 5, but don't go ruining your race because of it. I understand that you want to, you know, go for a gap that is there and try and exploit it, obviously, but if you do things like that, it can backfire massively, and in this case, it did. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I've seen plenty of comments when it comes to this incident between Bowman and Wallace, and most people are basically saying, you know, Wallace is a bit of an idiot, to put it lightly. I'm kind of mincing my words on that one. You can go back at the other video and look at the comments if you want to see exactly what people said. But yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more like this on the world of NASCAR and stock cars. Guys, have a fantastic day wherever in the world today, and we'll see you very soon.